Every day we pass people on the street holding signs and often forget they're our neighbors too, each of them with their own story. And the Stew Pot and the Bridge in Dallas are working to support individuals experiencing homelessness. And we have Mike McCall, who has faced many hurdles in his life and knows what it's like to be homeless. But with community support, he has become a success story, and he is here to be vulnerable with us this morning and to share his story. And we are so grateful. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
So glad to have you here. Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's start with the fact that you suffered an enormous loss with the passing of your wife. Tell me how that grief impacted your life and how that ultimately led to homelessness.
That was probably the tipping point when I decided to give up. At that time, I'd just been crushed so deeply in everything that I decided just to give up and just to live on the streets and be an addict and die an addict.
It almost seemed easier at the time than carrying the weight of what the world was giving you at the moment. Tell me, because you just mentioned it, you became drug dependent and even spent some time in jail. And so elaborate on that struggle. What does that look like for you, and when did you start to come out of it?
Well, the struggle is real.
It is indeed every day.
Definitely indeed. When you're out there and you're in your drug addiction and everything like that, nothing is easy to accomplish. And if you're out there being homeless, getting driver's license, getting any of that stuff is just way beyond anything that you can handle.
It feels almost like it's out of reach, especially when you don't know where to go as far as the resources to get those things rolling in the first place. And so you reached out to the Stew Pot and you reached out to the Bridge. How did they end up helping you in your recovery period?
Well, the Stew Pot helped me with dental, helped me get my ID, and the Bridge actually is where I stayed, and the Stew Pot fed me 3 times a day.
Wow.
At the Bridge for a year.
Very, very good. Okay, so we do have the resources in our city. We just need people to know about them. Would you say that? Is that the knowledge is out there, or
Yes.
that we need to spread that more?
Yeah, that's one of the things that needs to get out there. People need to not be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah, and that's the biggest hurdle, I think, is asking for help. Now, one program at the Stew Pot where you found healing is the Writers Workshop. Tell me more about that program and how you got involved.
Well, the Writers Workshop, it's a group of people that are experiencing homelessness at one point in their time or another, and then they also are writing about homelessness, about addiction, about the struggles and the real things that are happening to people out there on the streets.
Yes, yes, indeed. Okay, so I want to actually read a passage because we have the book here, and this is just basically a collection of stories. It's called Thy Neighbor, and like I said, it's a compilation of writing and stories from the Stew Pot. And we outlined a space that you said, today I feel complete, today I feel human, today I am somebody's neighbor. What was that you were thinking or that you were feeling when you wrote that?
That was after I got my apartment, after being at the Bridge for a year.
And what was that feeling
I was
like?
it was awesome. I was somebody's neighbor for once.
Yes,
I wasn't just an
indeed.
outsider like the way most of us feel.
It almost felt like you belong. This is my space. This is where I'm meant to be.
I felt like I'm part of Dallas's community again.
Yes, yes, indeed. Okay, so let me ask you, because I think a lot of the times we're in this space where we have a family member who is going through something and they might not necessarily want help just yet. Do you have any advice for anyone who's listening who may be affected by homelessness as well?
We're all in this together. You know, they call it Thy Neighbor for a reason, because we're all neighbors here in this world. And it's just time to be kind to one another.
Yes, yes, indeed. Okay, so tell us what you're doing now. What does life look like for you?
Well, I graduated college, and now I'm a therapist at Discovery Point Retreat, where I help and treat other addicts that are on their recovery journey.
Wow, so your testimony basically became your purpose.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I'm now giving the help that others have given me.
So does it feel like a full circle moment then?
It kind of does, and it kind of does. And I've got a lot of ways that I can relate to individuals that are out there that are suffering through addiction and homelessness.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so tell me, because you said there was multiple programs at the Stew Pot, at the Bridge. Tell me any other programs that you were involved in.
Well, I was the Writers Workshop. I got my dental taken care of. I got my driver's license taken care of. I got housing forward through them, and I got an apartment that was paid for
So
a
they're
year.
really setting you up, not only when you're there, but also going forward after you leave.
Yeah, because they gave me a place to where I started college from the mat at the homeless shelter at El Centro, and that's where I was able to start college.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for coming on this morning,
bet.
sharing your story. I know it is difficult to want to give advice to others when you were once in that position, but you are doing just that, and you're doing it for multiple people in our community who so need the resources and the knowledge, and so we appreciate you for coming on and making sure that you're an advocate for it. And for you at home to learn so much more on how you can help our neighbors in need, all you have to do is go to thestewpot.org.